In my last video, I went through my like 75 cameras and just walked you through what I was gonna sell, because I was on this Matthias Berling track of like, I'm only gonna keep 2 cameras. I espouse minimalism, I believe in it, I want to be a minimalist, and here's how I'm gonna go about it. And I was relatively brutal in my cutting of cameras, and I ended up at 17. And I was being very rational about it. I was like, listen, this one, I don't use that much, it's expensive, I'm gonna get rid of it. Okay, so here we are, July 5th, and basically where I've landed is in more of a Marie Kondo headspace. As I sort of went through that collection, I took pictures of everything and was writing all the descriptions to sell, and I put up 2 things that they immediately sold. And if you're one of the viewers who purchased the Miu Minis, I will get them out to you this week, I promise. But it just gave me pause. I was like, oh my God, these are just gonna go. I'm gonna like lose them. Not because I don't want everyone to be able to enjoy them and shoot them, but there are certain ones where I was like, I'm actually very attached to this camera and I don't know if I'm ready to let go of it. So I Marie Kondo'd my way into convincing myself that I should keep what brings me joy. What sparks joy, because there's very little joy in the world right now. It's a very weird time to be living through, and whatever piece I can play in just cultivating joy and maintaining joy and establishing what little control in the world that I have, I've reassessed my camera collection. So I won't go through a whole hour of explaining what I have. We're just gonna go rapid fire now into what I've decided to keep and why.
All right, here we go. Leica M8. I'm shooting it now. I love it. I had forgotten how brilliant it is and just how incredibly filmic and delightful the colors are. So yeah, no chance. Definitely not selling this one. Leica SL. I wasn't planning to sell this before, and I'm not planning to sell it now. Sigma SD Quattro H. I love this camera, and I love it so much that I just added a Sigma DP1 Quattro to my collection. Reason being that the SD Quattro H is large, and I just want something that's a little closer to pocketable. It's definitely not pocketable, but the DP2 Merrill is a camera I had put in the sell pile, and I've decided to keep it because I am just Foveon obsessed because they spark so much joy. Olympus E1 and the Olympus E300 and the Olympus E400. I was gonna keep one. I'm keeping them all. Like, why not, right? Canon PowerShot Pro 1. I just love the colors, and I think it's just different than any of the other cameras that I have. So again, I want to keep this one. Pentax 645C. This one is kind of the sleeper attack for me because I really thought I was going to sell this. But man, when I pulled those files up to put them in my last video, I was so taken aback by how much I love the output of that camera. Olympus OMD EM5 Mark III. I noticed as I looked to some of my earlier videos like the Fuji S5 Pro or the Xz1 video that I just really prefer the roll-off of highlights and just generally speaking the video quality from the EM5 Mark III to the Sony ZV-1, and it doubles as a great stills camera. Panasonic Lumix Lx3. Love this camera, keeping it. Black and whites are delicious. Even the colors are wonderful. Olympus Xz1. I have really funny feelings about this one because I actually do not like the ergonomics of this camera at all. But it does have an incredible lens and it does have really wonderful colors, so I am hanging on to this one. Sony ZV-1. As I mentioned, I'm not super keen on the video from this thus far, but the reality is it's probably a really excellent camera that I just cannot be bothered to like dig into the menus and program the right way. It is really great autofocus, and at the end of the day, I'm like, for this style of videos that I'm making, it's less about being it's not a word. Cinematic. I was gonna say cinematographic. I don't know what that word is. It's less about being cinematic, more about having the picture in focus, and it does have that product showcase feature, which for a channel like mine is very handy. Nikon 1V1. Okay, this is a new addition to the family. It hasn't even arrived yet. But yes, I got another camera, Fuji X100V. This is my modern camera, and of course, like, it's a hot camera right now, and with good reason. It's a great camera. I know I expressed feeling a little like weird about this camera, but I do think having one modern camera in the mix is kind of not dumb. Instax Sq6, my fun instant camera. I don't know, like, I don't shoot this very often at all, but it is kind of fun to have, just like on the off occasion that I want to do some instant film. Fuji Natura S, keeping for that beautiful 24mm 1.9 lens, even though I do have a backup body that I'm selling. Olympus Pen FT, no brainer once again, definitely keeping it. Ricoflex Diacord L. There's an amazing channel here on YouTube, which I will link down below. And it's a guy who's in Japan, and he, finds and repairs old cameras, and I have bought from him previously. So anyway, this is a long way of saying I bought another camera from him. This is a really cool looking camera. It is a TLR. So a few new cameras in the mix. We are above 17 at this point, but still under 20. And I am full of joy now, and I hope you are too. Cannot wait to tell you about the Leica M8. She is such a welcome addition to my life, and I'm so glad I'm keeping her.